Isaiah, the RMB BER Business Confidence Index was released today. It comes hot on the heels of the first quarter GDP print, where we saw an improvement in growth, albeit quite marginal. What are the details for the RMB BER Business Confidence Index?
What we see, Siobhan, in the business confidence release is that confidence declined quite significantly, 9 points decline from 36 to 27. And if we also look at the number 27 in historical context, it has always coincided with a contraction in either investments, GDP growth, or both every time we see a print of below 30 for a couple of quarters. So that is a cause for a concern. But then if you look in the underlying subsectors, three of the subsectors contracted while the other two remained unchanged, which just shows that the majority of the subsectors have been dragging down business confidence.
So, which of these sectors were most interesting in terms of their movements? And what are your major concerns when we look at the detail for these sectors?
If we look at vehicle dealers, the largest contraction that we saw, 21 points. If we also look in terms of the retailers, also the second largest contraction, 14 points decline. Those two contributed the bulk of the decline in the overall business confidence. But we can also add wholesalers, which are influenced by the same factors that influence vehicle dealers and retail traders, which is ultimately the consumer, which is battling under high interest rates, high food price inflation, and also low job creation in the economy, given that we are not seeing expansion in the economy. So that is weighing on the consumer. So wholesalers also declined. But if we look at the other two sectors that remained unchanged, that's manufacturing and that's building contractors. They actually helped to keep business confidence not contracting as much as it would have if they have declined, in line with the other three sectors.
So, mostly not great news. So, what does this mean after the slight bit of growth that we've seen in the first quarter? What do we think is going to happen to growth in the second quarter?
Look, if we just take the confidence number at face value at 27, which means just over a quarter of business executives are satisfied with prevailing business conditions, it implies that they're not going to be going out there and investing in new investment, but merely just to survive. It implies that we are likely to see a moderation in economic growth in Q2, if not a contraction. Remember, ESCOM told us in May that winter is coming. It's going to be a winter of discontent with stage 8 potentially of load shedding. That is going to weigh on all the heavy industries, such as manufacturing, for instance, which means we will not be surprised to see a negative print in GDP. But overall, it just means growth is stagnant. We are not going to see any improvement in economic growth in these conditions domestically. But also, if you combine with the external environment, interest rates will continue to increase as well. Demand external also continue to moderate, which just even further weighs on the potential for the economy to grow. So a lot of negative factors with no green shoots, at least over the short term.
Thank you for that rather subdued outlook. It is definitely something that we are worried about. However, hopefully the long term has better prospects for us.